some size. With the reverse, down it goes. Anthony for three. Bledsoe with the slam. Iverson got the step. Oh, slammed in by Kenyon Martin. Smith with the count. Iverson passing on the open shot, takes to the rim. Anthony and stops. A facial softball. Oh, he got it.
And we welcome you to the Rockies of Colorado. It's all about altitude here in Colorado, the Mile High City, 5280 above sea level. And these players, they love flying and getting up in the air and jamming it down as well. And we welcome you to the Pepsi Center in downtown Denver, Colorado, where this team was one of the best home teams in the NBA a season ago. 50 wins overall, 33-8 at home. That was the sixth best home record in the NBA last year, and we are here at the home of the Denver Nuggets at the Pepsi Center. We're here at the practice facility, deep inside the Pepsi Center, and we welcome you to our broadcast position. And hello again, basketball fans. Rick Kamla and Scott Hastings, former NBA champion and also former Denver Nugget. He's currently the TV analyst for the Denver Nuggets on Altitude Sports with Chris Marlowe. Scott, awesome to be on this broadcast with you. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Kind of excited about this. I had a chance to go and see a couple of these guys practice. And having watched them now I retired in '93, so for a lot of years, probably one of the most intense practices in training camps as far as just the attention to little details I've seen in a long time.
And George Karl has just been raving about the camp. Said it was a tremendous camp and said he has not been happier in his now 21 years of head coaching with his team heading into a season, and that is ultra high praise from a guy with 879 career wins. That's 10th most in NBA history. This team comes off a 50-win season, Scott, but they were the 8th seed. First time in NBA history that an 8th seed had 50 wins. The thing is, though, they were only 7 games behind the LA Lakers, who were the number 1 seed in the West. That's how competitive it was last year, and it shows you that it seems like they were far away from it at the 8th seed, but really they were pretty close to the top.
Well, let's be honest. You know the old adage, if you're not improving, you're actually slipping behind, falling behind. In the Western Conference, that's absolutely true. We saw Portland the other night. Portland's going to be better. Seattle still gets better. I like what these guys are doing. There's so much depth and talent as far as team goes on the Western Conference that you've got to improve. You've got to find ways to mix it up. Yeah, you can be happy with winning 50 games, but unless you're the Boston Celtics, honest to God, the only happy team in the NBA is the Boston Celtics.
And let's go to George Karl. Right now, he is mic'd up.
Dream Elijah? What are you going to call it?
I don't know. I come up with a whole bunch of nicknames.
Okay, gentlemen, this is the last one before you get to play against someone else. Let's make it a good one. From a standpoint yesterday, I thought you did a great job of handling kind of the noise and craziness. It seems like we have NBA TV today. Tomorrow we have referees. And Saturday we get to play outdoors. So we're going to have all types of little distortions and distractions that can pull our focus away from doing what we're supposed to do. But as I said yesterday to you, I don't think I've been happier about a team so far. But just don't let up. Just don't let up and keep it going in a good direction. For your moms and dads, there's a couple people who have microphones on. I have one. I think AI has one. Microphones are booming, so don't get the phone calls telling you much your language. Oh, whoa. Okay, together, gentlemen, together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Together. In there, we got AC, Mateen, JR, Mello, Balkman, Kmart, James, and Steven. That's the blue team. AC, Mateen, JR, Mello, Balkman, Kmart, James, Steven. Where's Balkman?
Yeah.
Ronaldo.
What you on?
Cool.
Hey, what you
Cool?
on? James?
Cool.
How you say we play cool?
Yeah. Cool. I don't like that.
Cool.
Cool. You're out here. You ain't with us again today,
Sacramento.
man?
No. I do too.
Come on, Steve. Hey, Jay, I know he out, man. Oh, an earlier day?
Dennis.
Thank you.
Back when I was everything hurt. Oh, scared.
Oh, they numb you up now. And, I mean, now that you have dentists that have the laughing gas. Have you ever done the laughing gas? Yeah, when you
I never use that either.
Beckel had to laugh at you.
What did I use something? Crunch. Yeah.
Well, we've been on this training camp tour here for a little while, New Orleans and Boston and New York and Phoenix, and now we're here in Denver. And we have not seen those previous 4 teams set up the start of practice like this. They've got half the team out on the court warming up. They've got half the team in here in the weight room. And that's an interesting look, an interesting wrinkle.
Well, it's the first time they do it. Steve Hess, who's the athletic trainer, the active trainer, the guy, the strength and conditioning coach for these guys, it came up with a plan, and what they're doing is you get half the team out there actually shooting, working on fundamental stuff, getting their jump shots in, learning to come off picks, maybe playing some little pick and roll, warming up this way. The other guys are coming in here, they're stretching, they're lifting, they're doing a lot of stuff with the bands workout. So this way they think they get as much work in by splitting them up, but yet still doing 2 different things. This group in about 10 to 15 minutes, well, actually the ones to our left will go outside. They'll start shooting the jump shots. The other group will come in there. They'll start exercising, start lifting, start doing the stuff that they're doing to our left right here.
And Steve Hess, he's diminutive in size, but he is a large presence here in this training room and has one of the best nicknames in the NBA. And it was coined by Bill Hanslick, our good buddy. Called him Pocket Hercules, and hopefully we can get a camera on Steve Hess, the ever-tanned Steve. Who has a better tan long-term, Steve Hess or Mike Shanahan?
I don't know. I was going to say George Hamilton, but we don't see George anymore. I don't know. Hess has been unbelievable. In fact, he's a bodybuilder during the offseason, won a competition, an open competition this past summer. Has really done some unique stuff. Listen, when I went in the league and came to the league in '82, they were just kind of getting guys into lifting weights. And then it kind of boomed late 80s, early 90s without a lot of training, without a lot of purpose. Guys got their own people to do it. Now you have almost every single team, if not every single team, has a strength and conditioning guy. It's no longer an 8 or 9 month league. These guys come in shape. Training camps are different. Also, the Nuggets are going one-a-days. Now, for us old guys who are watching this at home going, wait a minute, one-a-days? We used to go with Mike Fratello in Atlanta. We go 30 straight days of 2-a-days. It was unbelievable. So they're doing more stuff, better stuff. They're staying in better shape in the offseason. And I tell you what, that's why I think the game continues to get better and better.
And you just saw Steve Hess there working with Ronaldo Balkman. He is as high energy as any individual in the entire NBA, from owners all the way down to the janitors that sweep the floors. And let's go back to sort of that workout movement. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were famous, really, for their legendary workouts. Was that the start of the trend because they won championships with all that conditioning work, and then did it really blossom from there?
Well, that brought the notoriety. When Michael Jordan talked about hiring his own trainer, remember, that was all the big stories that, and he would have a guy in the summertime. The Bulls, I believe, end up hiring him during the regular season, work him out. I played with a guy at the University of Arkansas who played in the pros named Sidney Moncrief. He was one of the first guys that I knew that had a serious workout routine, lifting weights routine, in the season, carried that over with him during his career in the with the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's been around, but it's been more individual. Now it's league wide. Like I said, I don't know what the other teams are doing, but the Nuggets aren't going 2 days. Now they're going 2.5 hours or whatever it is, one big long practice. But no longer that breaking your body down. You're getting 12, 14, 16 hours in between practice to rest, to heal, to let the muscles recuperate. And then I think you have better practices by doing that.
And as you look at Hess, let me give you some stats that really echo the great job that he has done with this team. Last year, Allen Iverson played 82 games. I can't remember the last time AI played 82 games. As tough as he is, he just has had those injuries throughout his career. He's played 65 games, 72 games, whatever the case may be. But for AI to play 82 games with as hard as he plays and as many hits as he takes, a lot of credit has to go to Hess. And Marcus Camby last year, 9 games from Marcus Camby. And this is a guy who's had 30s, 40s, 50s, all throughout his career, year after year. 79 games last year, and I know Camby's gone, but Hess is doing a great job.
Well, you got to
contribute
contribute that to Hess, and also for Marcus, contribute that he had a bonus if he played over 72. So don't forget, there are other motivating factors. But listen, Steve Hess, Jim Gillen is also the athletic trainer. He's not the strength coach, but he's involved. These guys have worked in a pair, and I think you're seeing this more and more in sports. Not just a guy that those on ice, and then you got the guy that lifts weights. These guys coordinate. Guys get hurt. Guys get injured. Jim Gill's been around. I think he came here in '91 with the Denver Nuggets. He works with Steve Hess. He says, okay, I need this. This guy has this injury. Hess comes up with the program, and really it's state of the art. And I know we're covering the Denver Nuggets now, but I got to believe it's like this and all the other teams as well. What they're doing now compared to the old school days is absolutely unbelievable.
And, you know, a couple of guys who have been oft injured for this team, Nene and also Kenyon Martin. Kenyon's weight is down. I did read that coming into this. And Nene, obviously, last year with the testicular cancer and a couple of years ago with the ACL. What are you seeing from those two guys in these practices? Because with Camby out, Kmart and Nene are going to have to be awesome for this team this year.
Well, they got to stay healthy, and that's the biggest thing. And part of the stuff we've been talking about, the conditioning and all that, is all big. But they put a lot of bank on the fact that Nene is about ready to become that big-time player. They thought he was going to become that guy last year for him, that low-post presence. He's got a good left hand, a right hand around the basket, good up and under moves. He's a beast. I mean, this guy is strong, and you see him on the sideline. But then all of a sudden he came back with a pulled calf. That slowed his progress down. Gained a little weight before the season. And then all of a sudden when he got back in shape, here comes the testicular cancer issue. That really derailed him. Started come back last year. This guy is in shape this year. I mean, look at those arms right there. He's in shape. He's raring to go. They need him to have a healthy year. People, I think, if he does stay healthy, and there's big, ugly Doug Moe sitting beside him, if he stays healthy, this guy's got a chance to be a beast.
And let's take a look at Nene in action here, and you're going to see a thunderous throwdown here in a moment. He has missed 165 games over the last 3 years. He had 66 DNPs last year, 37 due to the testicular cancer. Returned for the last 3 regular season games, then played 3 playoff games, but just was not right at the end of the year.
Well, back in the old days, we called it buzzard's luck. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, the guy tears his ACL in the first quarter of the first game of the year 2 years ago. I mean, that just happened. It's a year-long injury, especially talking about a man who's pushing 250 pounds around. And then last year, cancer at the age of, 23, 24? The guy has to deal with the cancer. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, he's had the buzzard's luck. Hopefully, they got the Audubon Society to grab all the buzzards in Denver, get them out of the area, and you'll have a healthy year for Nene.
Well, you think of the Washington Wizards and the injuries they're dealing with right now. Haywood, Antoine Jamison, obviously Gilbert Arenas, and our hearts go out to them for just years and years of bad luck with the injuries, and we certainly hope that the boomerang is coming back the right way for the Denver Nuggets.
And I got to tell you this real fast, because we're here in Denver, and I do the Nuggets, so you want these guys. It's easy for my job when all the good players are always healthy.
Right.
But listen, nobody else in the league, once a season, no one cares. See, no one cares. We don't care here that Washington's injured. Good for them. We want that team to start. We don't care the other team. That's what you got to get over with. You can say, woe is me. We've had 5 days in 7 nights, 5 games in 7 nights. We got this. Oh, I'm a little stiff. No one cares about your woes except yourself. So you got to make sure you try to stay away from all the bad stuff, as much of the bad stuff as you can.
And we detailed the track record woefully for Nene. It hasn't been that glowing for Kenyon Martin in recent years either, but he did end last year on a really high note. I mean, he got back to being, I would say, maybe a borderline elite power forward in this league, and especially in terms of the activity and the defensive deflections and stuff like that. Had a mysterious playoff round against LA, but the end of the regular season, he was primetime Kmart once again.
He's not your classic power forward in the sense that he's not going to put you on the block and Karl Malone or Kevin McHale. He's going to run around the offensive glass. He's going to clean up messes. He's a great defensive. He is their best defensive low-post player that they got. His hands are so quick, and he can run the floor. I talked to the NBA coach who said, man, we're so afraid when Kenyon is out healthy, running the floor, because we don't have people that can stay up with this guy.
And Kenyon Martin, his weight is down. Last year it was about 240, and this year it is about 228. And he said he did that to take pressure off of his knees. And again, we go back to the hard work of Kenyon, obviously, but Steve Hess, getting his body where he needs to be to perform at the highest level.
Yeah, absolutely. The training staff here getting this guy back on. But listen, you're a player. You've got money. You got guaranteed contract. It's still Kenyon who's got to decide, you know what, I want to stay healthy. I want to get play. You can give all the tools in the world. I can give you the fast car because I saw that nice Mercedes you drove up in. You can give you the fast car in the world, but if you're only going to drive at 20, for whatever reason, you're only going to drive at 20. So you got to give Kenyon a lot of credit as well. Hess and all the staff are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But it shows something to me about the character of Kenyon that wants to be healthy, wants to play in 80 games if possible.
Well, clearly there's jealousy already between me and Hastings. Dude rolled up in a Bentley and just had me drooling out of the side of my mouth. Hey, they've switched it up. They've gone from the practice court back into the training room, from the training room back out to the practice court, and we are going to take our first time out. The gloves are coming off. Campbell and Hastings are at the Pepsi Center in Denver. Come on back. It's all about the Rocky Mountains here in Colorado, and those look like red rocks, and home of my favorite musical venue in the United States, of course, the Red Rocks Amphitheater, and it's just one of the most beautiful states in the country. Glad to have you with us. NBA TV Real Training Camp, Denver Nuggets. We're here at the Pepsi Center. George Karl is mic'd up, and let's get it back down to the practice court and listen to his tidbits of wisdom.
He's a friend of John Welsh and Mitch Murph from Vegas.
And George Karl standing with the Vice President of Player Personnel, Rex Chapman, for these Denver Nuggets. And this brings us a good time for me to relay one of the quotes that I read from George Karl, and he's not afraid of the microphone. We know that. This was from a couple of weeks ago. He said, "There's people out there writing the doomsday of the Denver Nuggets. I like my team. It's faster and quicker than it's ever been. It could be deeper than it's ever been. And it has more defensive weapons, more so than ever before." End quote. And you lose Marcus Camby, 2 years ago Defensive Player of the Year, last year the runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year voting. And when you hear that quote and with the loss of Marcus Camby, you kind of say, huh? What is all that about? So make sense of that quote.
Well, I tell you what, when you're looking at that season recap, here's what it is. Fifth straight season losing in the first round. You've lost in the first round with the Defensive Player of the Year. You lost in the first round with the guy who's either 1 or 2 in block shots for the last 3 years, 1, 2, or 3 in reboundings the last 2 years. And not to be disparaging on Marcus Camby in the right system, I think is good. What I thought with Marcus was there was times the block shot or the rebound gave way to good, solid defense. Denver, as good as they were, winning 50 points, were 29th in the league in giving up points. And you just can't win. Their field goal percentage, having the number one team in block shots in the league, they were one of the worst teams in field goal percentage for an opponent. So what they're really emphasizing, we're going to see this now. If this is like the regular practices I've been watching, they really get after it. Their emphasis this year is point of attack defensively, on-ball defense, trying to take away the first option when possible, as opposed to allowing Marcus Camby to stand back below and let the shots get blocked by a great shot block.
More on the defensive vibe in a moment. We go from Hastings to Karl.
The difference tonight is you're going to have 5 coaches. You're going to have 5 coaches, so you're working on ball and scramble. So you're going to have a triangle behind you. So the first 3 or 4 times in transition, 4 guys got to cover 5 coaches, okay? You ready to go? Let's go. Get back. Let's go. Who's got ball? Up. Let's go, go, go. Four defending five. Four defending five. Talk, talk, talk. Talk, talk. Scramble, scramble. Scramble, okay. Good zone up. Zone up. Okay, that's your go. That's your go. Rotate, rotate. Let's run, let's run, let's run, let's run.
All right, Scott, let's bring you back in here and describe for the people watching out in TV land what's going on out there.
Well, what they're doing is they're doing some transition to get the guys running, get used to lanes, getting the fast break on. So you go 4-on-0 down, you come back 4-on-0. That means 4 offense, no defense. And then you have coaches and other players come out. Then it becomes a 5-on-4. And when you watch defensively, when it's a 5-on-4, 5 offense and 4 defense, what Denver's working on is pressure on the ball defensively and a triangle forming behind the man on point, a triangle forming some way behind it in support of weak side defense. Here comes the 5 offense to take on the 4 defense. Watch for ball pressure and then some sort of a triangle behind the guy with the ball. Almost looks like a good zone. The little guy back there has got to get around a little quicker.
And how unusual is it to have, coaches going against players, or is that not unusual?
Well, they hire a number of guys, and it's not so much. It's not what you're working on now. The competition, it's not like you've got a bunch of 4 old fat guys, 5 old fat guy coaches out there running. These guys are shaved a little bit, but it's more positioning. So as you see the ball and the communication, you can hear the noise out there. We're hearing it inside, and we're in the weight room. But you can hear the noise. It's about communication and position as opposed to a competition, which we'll go into a little bit later. And what you want to do as a coach, by the way, you want to transition in from a practice drill into when they go live scrimmage here in a little bit, doing the same things live against your other teammates.
And George mentioned that tomorrow night here at the Pepsi Center, the Nuggets begin their preseason schedule against my Timberwolves, 7 p.m. local time start. Saturday, the game's on TNT. It's the outdoor game, Indian Wells Tennis Garden in Palm Springs, California. It'll be the Phoenix Suns against the Denver Nuggets, 8 p.m. on TNT. Allen Iverson is already mic'd up, and we mentioned communication. Let's listen to the great AI communicate.
What is it, drag, chase, drag?
Get that one. Get that one.
Stay low, see.
Back to the big, he can take it to the side pick and roll. Or if he draws and kicks here, then the big guy can come over slowly into another side pick and roll. So no matter whoever you pass it to, we're going to end up on a side pick and roll unless we get a scoring play. Now the one thing, Dante, you're in this corner as AC's coming off into this gap. We want you low to start with. But once he is leveled off, getting your pick and roll angle mellow up is better than down low, okay? So we want you in corner, but if he's leveled off, if he gets into the gap, you're playing out of the corner. If he gets leveled off, you got to pull up and give him a better angle for the side pick and roll, okay? Drag it, chase it, transition D. What? Yes. I didn't. We've only been doing it for a week now.
Yeah, but you told us drag.
Drag, chase, back. Oh, let's go. Steven. Chase, chase. Drag with a weave, drag with a weave, drag with a weave.
We're going to weave into the drag.
Scott, we've been doing this Real Training Camp series on NBA TV for years. We actually started it in Denver way back when. And almost every place we go, almost every coach that we see, they talk about the importance of communicating on the court, players talking with each other. Why is that so important? And do you like the communication of this Nugget team?
Well, it's been better. And last year, maybe one of the weak points of this team was trying to communicate. But some would say maybe one of the weak points of the team was just trying to play defense. But what it does is it just lets you know. It gives the confidence. If I'm guarding the camera and I'm on ball, to hear someone behind me, I got your weak side, I got behind you, I got the left, I got your left, or watch coming to your right. It lets you know what's around you, but it gives you confidence that you've got a teammate behind you in case you get beat. Now also, you may not even be able to get over there on the weak side. Also, the offensive guy hears, hey, I got your left, I got your left. Now the offensive guy goes, well, dang, I was going to drive left. Now I can't drive left. They're ready for that. So communicating does a couple things. Gives confidence to your team defensively, and also sometimes can make the offensive team think about what they're going to try to do.
And on defense last year, the Nuggets they had quizzical numbers. They really just don't make sense. This team led the NBA in steals per game at 9.2. They led the NBA in shot blocking at 6.7. Second in the NBA in turnovers forced at 16.4. The only team in the NBA in the top 5 in all 3 of those categories. Yet, they allow the 29th, or I should say the second most points at 107. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why are those stats so different?
Well, you almost look about it, and we saw a great run this past year in the Olympics. And the one thing that Mike Krzyzewski was talking about was team. We got to be better at team. And you look at some of the stuff that they did. You talk about steals at first. That's kind of an individual thing. Steals is kind of an individual thing. Block shots, kind of an individual thing. And even rebounds, even though, as a collective, when you add them all up, it's pretty good. It was almost an individual thing. Well, just like the Olympic team tries to do, I think they've got to get back to, and having watched practice a handful of times already in the preseason, listen to what George Karl said. Listen to what Carmelo Anthony has said. They want to get back to more of a team-oriented thing. They want their goals to be a unified goal. They want to they still want to run, they still want to get their points, but they want to make teams have to struggle to score. They felt that they got 2 quickest shots they gave up on one end, or that they shot and took on one end, and then on the other allowed into some bad transition as well.
And those numbers obviously helped out a lot by Marcus Camby, who last year 3.6 blocks per game, 13.1 rebounds, and he is always among the league leaders in those categories. This year, it's going to be on Denver to keep the D in its name without Marcus Camby, or at least improve in that regard. Scott and I return to Denver in just a moment. Please stick around. Welcome back to NBA TV, Real Training Camp. Denver Nuggets, we're at the Pepsi Center. That's where it all happens for this team. One of the best home court advantages in the NBA. And it's Rick Hamlin and Scott Hastings here at the practice court inside the Pepsi Center. And we're joined right now by Rex Chapman, former NBA stud. He's the vice president of player personnel in his third year in that role for these Denver Nuggets. And Rex, thanks for the access. First of all, Scott and I have already talked about this. George Karl said, I don't think I've ever been happier with a team after the first week of practice, and he's been raving about the play of his team, the conditioning of his team. You like what you're seeing as well?
Absolutely. Guys have come in since day one, and we've just had a terrific camp thus far. Guys have knock on wood, been pretty healthy for the most part, but it's been an energetic, enthusiastic camp.
You know, Rick was talking about a while ago that you do lose Marcus Camby this year. Great shot blocker, great rebounder. Yet I think, and I believe in this, or I'm bought into it, or I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, one of the three, that I think you guys have a chance to be better defensively, even lose somebody who could dominate a game from that side of the court. I think you guys will be better defensively this year.
Well, we hope so. Losing Marcus was something that it was one of those things you kind of hate to do, but you need to do.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, and we feel like we've got some athletes that we can get out, put pressure on the ball, from Allen to Anthony Carter, our wing players. Carmelo's going to have to step up and get out, deny passing lanes, and be the aggressive all-around player that he can be. Ronaldo Balkman we added. I think that we do have a chance. A lot of times when you have that shot blocker, back there, you tend to
get a little lazy
get
on
a little
on
lazy
the point,
and rely on them to clean everything up, and we don't have that luxury now.
Well, you definitely added two more active guys up front. Chris Anderson, the Birdman, back in his second tour of duty here with the Denver Nuggets. And, I like that get a lot, but I love the Ronaldo Balkman get. I thought that was really a coup this summer to just nab him from the New York Knicks. He seemed like he would have been a real good fit in a Mike D'Antoni type of system. And, apologies to the Knicks front office. They're doing a fine job. I'm not mad at them, but I'm just pumping you guys up.
A Knicks fan. In other words, he's saying he's a Knicks fan.
No. I'm a Timberwolves fan. You guys know that.
All the time, Rick. No, yeah. Ronaldo we feel like it's a really good get for us. I've been a fan of Ronaldo since he was at South Carolina, kicking my Wildcats tail up and down the court in the SEC, and you're right. No, he is really a terrific player. What I really like about Ronaldo too is he does a little bit of everything, but his ability to get the ball off the glass and bust out with it, 2, 3, 4 dribbles. And he's a very good passer as well. So, we feel like he's going to be a nice addition for us and play a big role for us this year.
And yet a guy you don't have to necessarily call plays for can maybe get his own, through the steals like you talk about, transition and rebound on the other end. But here's another guy that you will run plays for. You guys re-signed him during the offseason, J.R. Smith. He was in the playoffs, and so long ago, he was your best player. He was your best player in the playoffs. He's come in shape. Yeah. He looks good. The practice I've watched, he's practicing. He's got a whole different attitude, it seems, this year.
Well, Scott, there comes that time where you go from being, the young kid in the locker room. You look around and there are guys younger than you or as young. JR came into the league at 17, 18 years old. And we've really seen a maturity from him this summer. Not that he's perfect, not that he's going to be perfect, but he really has, I think he's really grown up. He's playing a lot of golf these days. He's getting out, he's doing things. He's much more personable than he's been in the past, and I think that's just a sign of maturity. But JR can flat out shoot the basketball, and you're right. He's probably 10, 15 pounds lighter than he was last year. came in terrific shape, and we're expecting big things from him this year.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he was flabby last year. He's chiseled out of granite right now. And you mentioned how he's grown up. His parents told him over the summer that he's got to become a man, and his quote was, "It's time to grow up. It's time to mature as a man." And from the sounds of it from you, he has done that. He really got his career on track at the end of last year, got the big contract extension, and JR is good to go. So is Carmelo Anthony. He's got a gold medal dangling around his neck. I know he's psyched up about that, and primed for a huge season. He and Alex English are the only two players in the history of the Nuggets to go 25-plus PPG 3 straight years. Alex did it 8 times, and I think Carmelo's going to do it more than that. This is the second fastest dude to 9,000 points in NBA history.
Well, Carmelo, what can you say? Every time I have been away from him for a little while, a week or two in the summer, or maybe even longer this summer, with him being in the Olympics, the next time I see him, I swear he's grown. I looked out there the other day, and you'd never think that Carmelo Anthony is the same size as Juwan Howard, but he is. He's got to be close to 6'9" now, and he's it's unfair, the things that he can do with the basketball, being the size that he is, the athleticism, the strength. He really is just a freak of nature.
And you know what? And you talk about maturity with JR. There's maturity with him too. I mean, this guy comes out of college. He's still just a freshman who's going to be a sophomore. He's grown up as well, and had to. He was expected when he first got here, you got to be the guy. Yeah. You got to be the scorer. He has said all the right things, Rex, coming out of the Olympics. He knows he's got to do anything. When he passes the ball, he makes himself an even bigger threat. He's too big for small guys to guard him, and he's too quick for big guys to guard him. When he learns all this stuff, and I know I'm rambling right now, but the one thing he did say when he came back is, I got to make my teammates better. See, that to me is the one thing great players do.
Right, and I think you hit it on the head. Melo sat down with Melo at the end of the season last year, and he'd be the first to tell you that he was a little disappointed in how his season went personally. He dedicated himself this summer. What a big thrill and honor to represent your country, get a gold medal. But he's come back here with a terrific focus. Another guy that looks around the locker room, and he's older. He's no longer the young guy, the guy that is looking for guidance. He's the guy that needs to guide and lead people, and I think he's ready to do that.
And Carmelo didn't even lead the Nuggets in scoring last year. That was Allen Iverson, and AI was third in the league in scoring. Melo was fourth, and here's some shots from the Olympics and Carmelo Anthony. And in calling some of the games, these international games, the U.S. and the other teams, it comes up again and again. Who is the best player in international basketball? We're not saying the best player in the world, the best international basketball player. And again and again and again, that man's name comes up.
Well, he's I'll tell you, I don't know that there's a player on the planet right now that can put the ball in the basket any easier than Carmelo Anthony. He can do it from the three-point line. He can do it. He's an unbelievable mid-range player. And then he can also post up. He posts up small guys. He posts up big guys. He's just a load, and he's a tough cover for anybody that any team, any coach in the world tries to put on him right now. He's just a terrific basketball player.
You mentioned a while ago before we went back to Carmelo, another guy just became a dad for the 5th time. I told him, does he know how that happens? Yeah. And it's not like a virus or anything.
That's right.
You make them kids happen like that. But AI is, for those who've never been around him, there's always a perception of what he is and how he is, and the practice, that soundbite always comes back. Yeah. But this guy played in 82 games last year, led the NBA in his 12th year in the league in minutes played, and I think it's fair to say at least this: he don't take nights off. No. He plays hard every single night.
He does, and again, I'll throw the term freak of nature out there. That guy, he maintains a level of competitiveness, a level of conditioning. I think we'll see him, when he's 50. He might have a little gut, but I bet he can get up and down the court when he's 50.
Not if Hetz keeps working with him.
That's true. But he just, he loves the game. He's a basketball player. I think he was built. He was born to do this, and he's an amazing guy. He really is.
And his wingspan is a joke. I asked Scott, what do you think his wingspan is?
I don't know, but I would guess. I'm 6'4"-ish. I would guess he reaches as high, if not higher, than I do. He's barely 6 feet.
Yeah.
And I would think, he's probably got average wingspan of a guy, or a wingspan of a guy, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". It's amazing.
He is a freak of nature, like you said, and that freak of nature enters a contract year here. And, the decision was made not to offer him an extension in the summer. And he said, you know what, that's fine. We're going to play this thing out. And I'll be a free agent next summer, and we'll see where this thing goes. But I know you and Warkentine and Carl and everybody in the front office with the Nuggets wants AI back. I mean, this guy's a future Hall of Famer.
Well, I think that our owner, Stan Kroenke, we have a great owner. And Stan has really stepped up and tried to put a team on the court that can compete for a championship. He's everything. He's put his money where his mouth is, and we've been dealing with payroll issues for a couple years. Alan understands he's a pro, and I really think he's relishing coming in, playing this year, and being a free agent for the first time in his life. It's something he's talked about. He's open about it, and we love Allen Iverson. We don't want him to go anywhere.
See, it's a good news, bad news for a franchise. Good news, you want a guy who's hungry, who's in a contract here.
Right.
You want the
Absolutely.
Bad news is if you got a guy that's real hungry in a contract here,
right.
and someone else can afford him and you can't. So
Yeah.
it's really kind of a win-win situation for both you guys and Allen Iverson.
I think so. Allen's a terrific player, and the good thing about Allen is he plays the same way every night. You could never watch him one night to the next, 1 year to the next, and know whether he's got the security of a contract under his belt or is playing for a contract. Right. He plays the same way every night.
And Rex, one last question for you here, and we'll let you get back to work. The Denver Nuggets have not fared well in the first round in recent years. However, there are only 4 teams that have made the playoffs the last 5 seasons: the Denver Nuggets, the San Antonio Spurs, the Detroit Pistons, and the Dallas Mavericks. So it's not all gloom and doom. This is one of the elite teams in the NBA. And I just want to get your thoughts and your vibe heading into this season 08-09 for the Nuggets.
Well, it's a big season for us, and we're off to a really good start here with camp. Guys have come in shape, focused. A big key for us is going to be Nene. And Nene's going to be the guy, the man in the middle, so to speak. He's been a little bit injured, had some bad luck the last couple years. But with Marcus gone, Nene healthy, it's his time, and he's got to step up. We feel like we've got athletes. We've got great scorers. We've added some defenders to the team. So it's a big year for all of us. We're looking forward to it and think it's going to be an exciting year.
Well, I know the Nuggets are going to be fun to watch. We always know that. It's a highlight fest every single night at the Pepsi Center. And, Rex, we really appreciate your time, and best of luck this season. Let's hope your team stays healthy. And right now, let's get it back down to the floor and your good buddy, George Karl.
Okay. We haven't talked a lot about this. It's 4 on 4 on 4. It's 4 on 4 on 4. So once you make a stop here, you're going to go down there and score, down there. It's a team that gets 3 stops first. No, we're just running floppy. We're just going to run floppy. You can run step ups if you want. Huh? Okay. LK and AC, we like outside shoulder, but we don't like to give up his layup. Okay? Oh, they're AI and Melo are going.
Me and Melo, me and AC.
You're blue? Yeah. Okay. Switching it. If he comes out this side, we're going to give it a little show. We're chasing and trailing most of the time. He's got to go through your outside body to get there. Now, if it goes this side, Jawan, if it goes to this side, you have to step to the midpoint and help the weak side, help the strong side with the weak side drift. Be physical with it, but don't foul it. After they catch on the wing, you're just playing basketball. On the stop, the team that makes the stop. Okay, we'll just go. The defense goes down Make or miss, the defense is going down. We're not going to make any. But stops is what you get points on. Stops is what you get points on.
Catch and go, offense. Catch and go.
Stay.
What if we was going? Shot is a stop. A missed shot is a stop.
Go ahead, take it.
I got some. Push that. Get back out, Kevin.
Show, Chris. And rebound it. That's the stops. Let's go.
Come on. Back through. Get out of there. As I'm through.
Show, help it. And help it. Get big.
All the opponents are on a 10-1 run because Hastings is playing no D, so we got to call time and talk this thing over. Here, thanks to Rex Chapman for joining us. We'll return to Real Training Camp from Denver in a moment. Back in the day when I used to live here in Colorado, Scott, get out there on the slopes and try not to kill myself. But a lot of fun was had in the Rockies of Colorado when I lived back out here. My home was Evergreen, and I know you're having a blast living out here. It is an unbelievable state in terms of versatility, in terms of beauty, and in terms of the warm, friendly vibe of everybody living out here. And it is a good time in the Pepsi Center each and every night. This team went 33-8 here last year, 6th best home record in the NBA, and they get it done by scoring the Rock, 2nd in the NBA in scoring last year to the Golden State Warriors by only 0.3 of a point per game. They were third in assists, 6th in field goal shooting at 47%, and Carmelo and AI combined to average 52.1 PPG, by far the best scoring tandem in the NBA last year. Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson were a distant second at 43.9. And as we take a look at all those teams in the West, we go back to the conversation about 5 straight trips to the playoffs for the Denver Nuggets, which puts them in elite status. However, 5 straight first-round bow-outs for the Denver Nuggets, and it's going to be that much tougher this year for this team just to get back to the playoffs, let alone making noise in the playoffs.
Well, absolutely. The Western Conference is a monster anyway. I mean, Denver got in the 8th position last year with those 50 wins. Now saying the 5 losses, the reason they're in elite company, only, 3 other teams, and those are great teams. San Antonio, Detroit, Dallas, those have been great teams to get in the playoffs 5 years in a row. 3 of those 5 losses in those first-round games, the teams either won the NBA championship or, in Lakers' case last year, played for an NBA championship. So other than the Clippers, who, let's be honest, was a game away from going to the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago, and I think in that 06-07 season, they haven't lost to dogs. They've lost to some pretty good teams. But let's be honest, I think it's just like in any other sport. You got to learn to win. It's one thing to win in the regular season. It's an entirely another thing to win in the postseason. They now know how to win the regular season games. Will Portland learn that? Will Seattle learn that? All these other different teams trying to get the playoffs. Denver now has to learn to win the playoffs.
And it's going to be tough. The competition for 7 and 8 in the look at, teams 9, 10, 11, 12, Sacramento, Golden State, the Clippers, hopefully my Wolves. I mean, it is brutal in the Western Conference. And for the Denver Nuggets to get to the next level, it's not going to be about AI and Carmelo. We know what they bring each and every night. It's going to be on J.R. Smith. It's going to be on Linus Kleza to step up their game like they did in last year's playoff round against the L.A. Lakers. And let's talk about Kleza here a little bit. Had a 40-point game last year. I think 41 was the total. 4 of these guys went 40-plus last year for the Nugs. But for Kleza, he's in a contract year, and he's going to have a big year here.
Well, and I tell you what, just saying the same thing we talked about Rex, you got a pretty good player that's still hungry in a contract year. Another guy like J.R. Smith that we talked about in that last break, or before that last break, is in shape. I mean, this guy is strong. He's cut. He's ripped. He played for Lithuania in the Olympics. So, I mean, this guy got international experience and was a main factor. In fact, I think won a game with the last second shot.
Yes, he did.
For Lithuania. This guy was the fourth leading scorer. He averaged double figures last year. I mean, when you average 14 points in this league over an 82-game season, you're doing something right. He's a solid three-point shooter. His key is transition, though. When he gets out on the break, he gets it, I always said in the broadcast last year, as quick from his hip to the rim as any I've seen in transition. And he quick dunks on people with authority. I mean, he gets up hard, he gets it going, and then you forget about him, you back it off, and he can knock the three down there. I think he's going to have a big year. He'll be one of those bench guys. The question will be, do they decide to start J.R. Smith, or is he going to come off the bench also? But think about the 1-2 punch off the bench. You're talking about AI and Melo starting, but a 1-2 punch of J.R. Smith and Lennox Clays off the bench, not many teams throw that at you either.
And I think back to real training camp here in Denver a couple of years ago. George Karl was on that dude. It was LK this, LK that, and it was not positive. He was not stroking his young Lithuanian star. And just through him hanging in there and hard work and the great work of this coaching staff, Kleza is a legitimate sixth man of the year candidate this year.
Well, he was the Allman Brothers that year. He was the whipping post is what he was.
I like that reference, baby.
But absolutely, he beat him up. And a couple reasons guys in. I've coached some high school level basketball. The reason you do that, you do it with the people that can take it. Clays was a guy who can take it, continue to grow, continue to mature. His strength of character and his strength of confidence in himself is unbelievable. I like this summer how he kept talking to Melo. He's going to bust Melo. He was going to do all this stuff. He's a funny guy. He's a good guy. And I'm going to tell you what, if the league doesn't know about him, I'll be very surprised by the end of the year the league doesn't understand who Lennox Clays really is.
Lennox Clays actually started 3 of the 4 playoff games last year, which could bode well for a starting assignment this year. 14 PPG in the playoffs against LA. Dude shot 54% from the floor. That's all you can ask, is for a guy to pick up his level of play in the playoffs. And it leads me to this, yet another tangent from your boy Kamla. The 4 veterans, AI, Melo, Camby, and Kmart, did not play well against the Los Angeles Lakers. Points per game down, field goal shooting down for all 4 of those guys. J.R. Smith and Lennox Kleza upped their level of play in just about every category in that playoff series. Why do you think that was?
Well, J.R. averaged 12 in the season, averaged almost 19 in the playoffs. Clay's averaged 11 points during the season, averaged over 14 points in the playoffs. I don't know. I other than I thought Melo got into some frustration against the Lakers. They did the same thing the Clippers did to him a couple of years ago, double-teamed him all the time, and instead of kicking out, he tried to force too many shots, shot 37% in that series. He's got to take what teams give him. And it's tough, I think, with young guys, Rick, to be real honest with you, that are big scorers. Well, if I give it up, I'm not ever going to get back. I'm never going to get mine. It's okay, because if you don't get yours this series, the next series they're going to say, well, we can't double him. He's just going to pass it off. Everybody's going to beat us. All of a sudden you get yours. So it's a patience thing, and it goes back to what I said just a while ago. That's part of learning how to win in the playoffs.
And it is weird how the matchups go, and sometimes it's not your series, then the next team, it's a better matchup for you, and you explode. And you're right. You just got to hang in there and take what the defense gives you in that series and hope to make it on to the next round. The Nuggets are looking for a second round at least this year. Let's get it back down to the court. Mic'd up, George Karl and AI.
Good pass. Go hustle, Junior. Go hustle, boy.
Hey, John Welsh, take the ball over here. Give me a side pick and roll, step up. We're going to 5 it. The big guy's going to 5 it. John's going to be a point guard, nobody covering him. Stephen Hunter, you give him the hit. 4 and 4, 4 and 4. Who's up? 4 and 4. Pass. Chris is going to give it. Kenya, you're going to zone it. We're going to have a 3-man eye over here. Who's on defense?
Blue on D. I don't care.
I need a defender. Melo, JR, I need a blue shirt. He's on. I can't. No one knows what if you're blue or white. he
We're
comes
doing this
off,
for a week
we're going
now.
to zone it up.
Now
We're
you
going to pop it back.
understand.
We're going to pop it back, Chris, to start with. Working on your rotation on the 5, Everybody understand what we're working on, the rotation on the side pick and roll defense. Side pick and roll defense.
Go ahead on, John. Yeah, Rube!
Take it down, same thing.
Yep.
Go ahead, play. You're out, Smush. Sean came
Yeah,
Play, you're playing.
Stay
Let's
around that
go.
ball, boy. Layup. Stay up top, Rube. Stay up. And one. Pass, boy. Hit that. Yeah, Tech.
Boy. Job, Kmart. One more time. Mateen. Now rotate. Get up, James, get up.
Uh-oh. On his head.
Okay, everybody down here, gentlemen, everybody down here. Go back to blue and white. Ball, please. You got green defense. Blue on defense.
Green.
Blue defense. White, 4 white, 5 blue. 4 white, 5 blue. You're going 3 times. 3 times,
John.
You're in green here. You're in transition D there. If you make it, you're in green. If you miss it, you're back in transition. Everybody understand the drill? It's our best transition drill we'll be doing all week.
Juwan in.
You're in green. Let's go. It's a deny, JR. It's a deny.
Yeah, L.
Play. Green. Get up. Steven, get up. Get up. Job, Blue. Nice work. Out front. When we score a layup, we want to scramble in and put pressure on. Does it really matter what man you're covering? Exactly. And, the whole thing is when we score a layup, we want to scramble into pressure. Everybody understand, when we score a layup, Smush, when we score a layup, we're trying to scramble into green full court. That means everybody picks up man, try to deny, put some pressure on, try to get a deflection. If you fall into a good double team, don't be afraid to take it, but we haven't worked on that. But get into playing. This is a deny on first catch. Deny. Oh, run! Green! Get up! Nick, get up! Oh. Good job, way to pick up.
Oh, wow.
Switch it up.
Rick Hamlin, Scott Hastings here in Denver. And Scott, a lot of yelling out there, a lot of intensity out there, but what does it all really mean?
Well, it's an interesting thing that they're doing, and George was just talking about a while ago, that's been kind of fun. You're almost seeing, and it's college football season right now, and in pro football.
It is?
And yeah, it is for me. I'm in 3 fantasy teams. I got it. But you see also in the mixture of what goes on in college, the flex, and all of a sudden you're seeing more pro teams. Miami's doing stuff. I think you're seeing what we just saw in the last 4 or 5 minutes, maybe a mixture of some of the college game, Olympic games. Denver working on a drill where if you score a layup or you get an easy basket, right to basket, you jump into almost a full court pressure, a 94-foot pressure, and then you force a turnover. The key with pressure is try to force turnovers, try to speed the game up, which we saw that when those graphics a while ago. They want to score more points, or you want to continue to score more points, but you put the pressure, maybe you get some easy turnovers. Ball was thrown out of bounds a while ago. So watch for Denver in this drill. If a layup happens, that you're seeing 94-foot pressure. See, there's a missed pass. People get back to half court and just pick up regular.
Nice knock away by Carter. And if you have joined us in the middle of our program here, earlier we talked about the fact that the Denver Nuggets were second last year in the entire NBA in turnovers forced at 16.4 per game. They were like a +2 in the turnover category, and that's a very promising number.
Yeah, and obviously I think they wanted more. I mean, for a team that ran, and I'm going to see the number right here, they turned it over almost 16.4 times a game. That's acceptable. I mean, in the old days, you wanted around 15. But you're about talking a team that's scoring 110 points a game. 110 points a game, and you're only turning over 15, 16 times. On one hand, that's not too bad. This team is solid. The things you look for this team is opponent's field goal and the assist that Denver comes up with. They had a record at one time when Allen Iverson had double-digit assists. At one time, they were like 19-1, 20-2 when Allen Iverson had double-digit assists. So when they're passing and sharing the ball and playing as a group, pretty tough to beat.
Well, let me ask you about the point guard position, because Chucky Atkins, another one of these bad luck guys. More surgery for Chucky. Another beginning of the season where he'll be in civvies. And Anthony Carter's been brought back. It'll be his 3rd year with Denver. The first year, I think he played like 2 games, just basically hanging on the roster as we're coming to you from the Pepsi Center in Denver, right here on NBA TV. Anthony Carter, 70 games played last year, 67 starts. Do you see that same sort of arrangement this year with AC at the 1? And he did hit a lot of big shots last year. Or do you think AI, who has said he will sacrifice his game for the greater good this year, do you think he's at the 1 and maybe J.R. Smith starting at the 2?
And that's the things is really kind of up there. Mateen Cleave's invited to camp. He's trying to get in that position. Smush Parker, who's had some success in his league as a point guard, trying to get on the roster as well. He's in camp. I think one that is positive for the Nuggets is you have options. You have the ability to maybe do something a little different. There was times last year that they put JR at the point guard and actually played pretty well, actually played under control. I think they had to have him for 3 or 4 games, and they were like 3-1 in the games where he had to play some point guard. So there are options. AI, because of his size, is a natural to do it, but it's the mentality. After 12 full seasons of always being asked to score, can you flip that mentality over? Has the ability. Great passer, but can he do it? But there's going to be options. You almost to the point where, let's be honest, put Melo at 5? Yeah, because they don't really have a true center anymore. Do you put Melo at 5 and then put JR to 1? Could you have a big, fast, tall kind of athletic lineup that's small one end and big on the other? I just think they got a lot of options, which also means they got a lot of questions.
No, but they have a very interchangeable team, and we saw in the Olympic team that lineup that I thought was their best lineup with LeBron at the 5 and Melo at the 4,
Yep.
and these are big guys, versatile guys who are long and can make plays on both ends of the court. But we know this for sure. J.R. Smith, 19.2 minutes per game last year. That number is going up. And we step aside one more time here from Denver, Colorado. We're at the Pepsi Center. This is NBA TV Real Training Camp. Denver Nuggets, we're coming right back at you in just a short little while. And look at one of the municipal buildings here in downtown Denver. Another beautiful sunny day in Denver. Yeah, you think it's snow. I'm telling you, it is sunny at some point just about every day of the year out here in Colorado. Like I said, one of the most beautiful states in the United States of America. That is Scott Hastings. I'm Rick Hamlin. We're psyched to have you with us on NBA TV Real Training Camp, Denver Nuggets. And there's been a correction.
Yeah, and not only the Steve Hess and his group, Matt Free, who's Steve Hess's assistant, be able to get these guys in shape. They're able to correct me. I've been saying Seattle. Watch out for Seattle this year. It's Oklahoma City, and that's so right. You forgot about that, or at least I forgot about that. But Oklahoma City, I think is going to be a pretty tough. There's Matt Free right there. So Matt, thank you for correcting me, my friend. You brought me my own little sign and everything in here.
And, the fans in Seattle, appreciate the reference, or maybe they don't, but we're moving on. Adrian Dantley finally made the Hall of Fame, and thank you very much. It just took too long, frankly. I mean, Adrian Dantley, a longtime assistant coach here with the Denver Nuggets, and the resume is it's not off the charts, but it's fantastic. 5th NBA career with 7 different teams, 6-time All-Star. He won a gold medal back in the 1976 Olympics. He was Rookie of the Year in 1977. And this is the biggest stat of all. 23,177 career points, 23rd all-time. And congratulations to AD on making the Hall in one of the best classes of all time with Ewing, Olajuwon, Riley, Vital, and everybody else.
Well, and the interesting thing about, don't you think, of the Hall of Fame, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, because it would be a travesty for sure they got it. It's a basketball Hall of Fame. They put people in the chair. This guy was a 2-time, 3-time high school All-America at DeMatha, won national championships in high school, was at Notre Dame, put Notre Dame on the map, was doing crazy stuff at Notre Dame University. I mean, this guy has been successful and a great player. And I'm going to tell you honestly, has surprised me, because I always wanted to beat him up whenever I got to play against him because he scored so much, and I was one of those guys that beat up the scores. One of the nicest, classiest men you'll ever meet in your life. He will be a head coach in the NBA someday.
Yeah, he's a pleasure to talk to, and I know the players are digging what he is saying. He is a well-respected head coach, and just congratulations to him on that. And little competition's been going on between him and AI in recent years in terms of the all-time scoring charts, right? We just told you AD is at 23,177. In the stats that I checked before coming on here, AI is at 22,988.
Probably catch him this year, won't
Probably going to catch him this year.
Well, good thing he got in the Hall of Fame. His number would have dropped a little bit further. Hey, listen, this guy's going to pass a whole bunch of people talking about Allen Iverson. The one thing he could do in his sleep, and by the way, he's only open when he steps in the gym. That's when he's open. He can score.
Or guarded by you.
Hey, trust me. Listen, it'd take 27 of me sitting on top of him, and he'd still end up getting with 30 that night. He's a phenomenal player. Adrian Dantley was a phenomenal player. The experience, and I hope what is not lost on some of these guys is those experiences. I hear AI all the time on the airplanes, on the road trips, telling the guys, listen, man, we got to do this, you got to check this way. These and what I'm trying to say is the passing of knowledge, if you will, from a veteran player. If you don't have veteran guys, we had Rex Chapman on a while ago saying, it no longer is Melo the young guy, 6th year. You're now one of those veteran guys, passing that knowledge on down to the J.R. Smiths, on to the Lennox Clayses, on to the Sonny Weems, who's their draft pick this year, trying to pass that knowledge on and share that. AD can do it. You can do it from the coaching position as well.
And Allen Iverson obviously is an open book for all the players on his team. And I would imagine at the All-Star game he's passing along pearls of wisdom to the young dudes on the All-Star team as well. And we're talking about a couple of classy guys, AI and AD. What about Juwan Howard? This is a guy who has just been a gentleman his entire career, and he's back for his second tour of duty with the Denver Nuggets. I know a lot of people are pulling for him to make this team, and it's not a guarantee at this point. He signed a one-year minimum, non-guaranteed deal. He's 35 years old, has a career points per game average of 15.3, and played for the Nuggets back in 01 to 03 on, Scott, unfortunately, a couple of the worst teams I've ever seen.
Well, you and I were talking with Juwan in here in the workout room before practice, and we mentioned that. I said, it is a little bit better team than that first go-around. He goes, oh, man. This was the leading scorer. In fact, he averaged more points than they had wins. I think he averaged 19 points that year, and they won like 17, 18 games.
Didn't complain one bit all year.
He is a class man. He's gone on. He's gone to Dallas. He's seen success. He's seen how an organization ran. He didn't get a lot of playing time last year. Doesn't want to end his career on what happened to him last year. He's a career double-digit guy scoring, I think, nearly 15 points a game, if I'm not mistaken, for a 14, 15-year career, which is pretty amazing. He could be a guy that helps younger players as well.
You know, I'm not Rex, I'm not Warkentine, I'm not Carl, but I'm just, it seems like they should find a spot on the team for Juwan Howard based on his experiences. We take a look at highlights of Juwan from his first run here with Denver, and you see him looking good. Unfortunately, they lost every single one of these games they were playing, and but Juwan Howard has that veteran leadership, the ability, as you just said, with AI to pass along that veteran wisdom onto the younger guys. And it's not like he has nothing left. Juwan Howard still has game left. He's not a dinosaur. Juwan Howard is up there, but just 35. It's not like he's 39.
But think about this. You got a guy trying to win a Tour de France, older than that, I think, isn't he? You've got Brett Favre, who's leading the New York Jets at 37. The age thing has got to be redefined. Dara Torres winning gold medals this year in the Olympics at 41. The age defined. Someone will step up and do that again. We'll redefine it. The conditioning, the way these guys, nutrition-wise, they learn about. I used to call this, used to be a chili dog and beer league. I mean, now it's a Nutri-Grain bar and a sports shake. It's different. You're younger 35 now than ever before in professional sports, especially the NBA. This guy has still got stuff left, still have teachability. Imagine putting a Juwan Howard, class guy that's been a solid system, all that. Put with a guy who's trying to get back the league, Chris Anderson, another guy that will be a contributor, who had to serve a suspension, do all the document. And now you get a guy like this saying, Chris, let's go. Let me show you the way. Let me show you what you need to do to play 15, 16 years in the NBA.
It's going to be tough for Juwan, though. You take a look at the bigs, Nene and Kmart. Then you've got Stephen Hunter. You've got Balkman. You've got Chris Anderson. And we're just hoping for the best for Juwan. And if he doesn't stick with the Denver Nuggets, well, he's getting a little audition for the other 29 teams here on NBA TV's Real Training Camp. Let's get you back down to the floor.
Smush, weaving into it.
Hey, white ball.
Smush, you got it.
Big guys, when you run a drag, what we want you to do? We want you to set the screen down low to where the man who's governing the ball has to chase over. And then we want you to roll to the tip of the basket. We have not got any pick and pop game in yet. Everything's pick and roll. Everything's pick and roll and replace. Pick and roll and replace.
When they got pick and roll yet?
My fault, man.
out front. Give it to Blue. Give it to Blue. Blue team, run 3 up. 3 up.
Hey. Nick. Go, 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 go.
You're in drag. You're in drag. Out front to White. Find the open man. Read the defense.
Team.
Smush. Ruben catches it here. Is your position down there or up here more beneficial to him? If you're down there, I think Melo's got to make more decisions. If you bring it up and bring him in, he's going to zone both of you. He's going to zone both of you up. But Ruben, make quicker decisions. Make quicker decisions.
Stay there, Steve! Get back, Steve! Too many fouls!
Yeah. Offensively, listen up. Right now, offensively, gentlemen, you're playing a lot better when you pass the ball than you do when you dribble the ball. There's way too much dribbling going sideways. I like dribbling going north and south. I think that's a great offensive play. But when you're playing against 2 and 3 guys, find the open man. Passing the ball, when you move the ball, you're finding an open man a lot better than you are right now off the dribble. Pass it and be simple.
3 up, 3 up, 3 up.
I'm here, I'm here!
Switch, switch!
Well, it's nice to know that no matter how long you play basketball, some things never change. Passing the ball gets guys open. You hear George talking about it. We mentioned that just a while ago, that assists. When assists are up for the Denver Nuggets, they win. They concentrate on working. And another thing interesting, I thought I watched that last segment, we haven't even put in pick and pop, pick and roll. They want aggressive, attack the rim style this year.
And as we take a look at the Denver Nuggets, when you get close-ups, you just see the body art on these guys, and it could be called team tattoo. We'll look at the Birdman, Chris Anderson, right there. There was a quote from one of the players. They said, "We may not lead the league in stats, but we do in tats." And Kenyon Martin said, "We have the most tattoos on any team in any sport." A look at some of the art on Carmelo. AI, obviously famous to some, infamous to others for his tattoos. J.R. Smith is absolutely drenched in ink. And the Denver Nuggets, well, they're an expressive bunch.
Well, they're in the culture. That's the culture right now. Right? The biggest thing in today's culture is cool body art. I think some of it's kind of cool.
I think it is as well.
In fact, we're going to get in your Mercedes. We'll drive down to Broadway here in a little bit. We'll go to the Shadow Tattoo place, and hook ourselves up.
Well, that would be my first. Apparently you have 4, and I don't want to see any of them. We're coming right back to Denver. We're at the Pepsi Center. It's NBA TV. Real training camp, Denver Nuggets. And we are back in the Rockies of Colorado here on the west side of the United States, where life's just a little bit better than everywhere else. It's NBA TV's Real Training Camp, Denver Nuggets, and we are here at the Pepsi Center. Rick Hamla and Scott Hastings look into the eyes of Linas Kleiza, one of the Lithuanian national team, and one of the young studs for these Denver Nuggets, and he's a prominent member of the rotation, could get a starting role this year, and if he doesn't, he will be one of the candidates for 6th man of the year. And a look at the upcoming preseason schedule for the Denver Nuggets. A lot of teams around the NBA have already started playing. Some have already played a couple of preseason games. The Nuggets have not. And tomorrow night here at the Pepsi Center, they will play host to my beloved Minnesota Timberwolves, and they'll just get it going against their Northwest Division rivals, although I think I need to take the word rivals out of there. It's not really a rivalry when you crush a team every single time out, is it, Scott?
Who's getting crushed?
Well, lately it hasn't been.
When you're the crusher, then you can call them rival if you want. But if you're the crushee, you don't want to hear anything about it.
But the Minnesota Timberwolves will be here tomorrow, and then on Saturday it's a big game. It is the first outdoor basketball game in a long, long time in the NBA. The WNBA had an outdoor game this past season, but that game will be at Indian Wells Tennis Garden in Palm Springs, California. It'll be the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. That'll be a 10 p.m. Eastern time tip on TNT. That'll be the tip-off of TNT's preseason coverage, and then, of course, a full year of awesome games and awesome coverage on TNT. And then you can see they've got Utah, another rival. That is, in fact, a rival in the Northwest Division for these Denver Nuggets. They play then Phoenix again at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, then another day with the Minnesota Timberwolves in Bismarck, North Dakota, and then a couple more. Toronto, they play them at Rexall Place in Edmonton, Alberta, and then they play the final preseason game in L.A. against the Clippers. Now, let's go back into your day as a player. And, you know, one of the staples of preseason is taking the show on the road to these little arenas and, you know, bringing the NBA to some haunts that it's typically not in. How'd that go for you way back in the day?
Well, it was kind of fun. It was interesting going to places that you wouldn't necessarily ever go to. I think we played a game in Ames, Iowa. They're going to Bismarck, was it South Dakota, North Dakota?
North Dakota.
North Dakota, thank you very much. I went to Arkansas, by the way. Playing in Palm Springs, which is an outdoor game, which I think is just a phenomenal thing. It's too bad it's a back-to-back game. I'd like to make that a Sunday afternoon game or show the whole country that game, which will test the theory that the Nuggets can't shoot outside. But then the instant game, they're going to play at Syracuse, and obviously Melo only spending a year in Syracuse. He's done a lot back for the university, donated over $1 million to the university to help build some athletic facilities a year or so ago. His name will be on one of those doors. Still beloved, obviously, at the University of Syracuse. But you're right. The NBA got it right before anybody else. Man, the NFL might be taking it to a different level, whatever. But the NBA got it right first. Let's not forget that. They took their teams to different markets. They took them to Bismarck. They took it to Plano. They took these teams, little towns that everybody just forgot about and say, oh, you're not a big market. But you know what? They're customers. They buy NBA TV. They buy the sports packages. They buy the T-shirts and the hats and stuff like that. And it's a way, really, I think, of the NBA to go out and do that. Now, the NFL's stuck because you've got to play in huge facilities. You're only going to play in the big facilities. But in the NBA, you can go and play at the University of North Dakota State at Bismarck or whatever. You can go outdoors and play on the Chris Evert tennis facility in Palm Springs, California. So the NBA got it right first. They continue to do it right. You've got to go out in the streets. It's almost like the old barnstorming days of baseball. It's almost what it is. Still drumming up business, still drumming up fans, still showing that we appreciate even the little guy, if you will.
And we encourage everybody to go out and purchase League Pass. I mean, if you're an NBA fan and you don't have League Pass, it's hard to really call yourself an NBA fan. And I know I sound like a shill right now, but how are you?
You're going to give me a gig with that, right?
But check it out. I mean, if you just watch the national coverage, you're getting a lot of good stuff, but you're not checking out Hastings and Marlowe.
That's right, baby.
Unless you have League Pass. So I encourage everybody to go out there and scoop that up. Now let's talk about some of the guys trying to make this team. And I want we talked about Juwan Howard being a veteran guy who has a past here with the Denver Nuggets. What about Ruben Patterson? Yeah, Ruben Patterson lives. He is back here in training camp. You've actually seen him making plays out here. And the guy is hopefully going to enter his 11th season in the league and hopefully going to enter his second year with the Denver Nuggets. He was with them back in 05-06, had a falling out with George Karl. Did not like how he was being played late in the season and in the playoffs, and George told him to take a hike. And now Ruben's back, and I think he's still got some games, Scott.
Kobe Stopper. When Kobe was up in Portland, he's had an interesting career. And sometimes guys get sidetracked sideways, say things they want to regret. I think he and George have both buried the hatchet. They've gone their own way. When this guy's on, this guy's a good player. I mean, this guy will get after you. He'll play defensively. It's an uphill battle. Hey, anytime you're a guy in the league at years 10 through, or let's be honest, for me it was 2 through 11. But any time you're past that 7 or 8 year range, you're always going to fight for a job. You're fighting for respect. You're fighting for a name you once had. You're still trying to play in this league. Ruben still has ability. Ruben will be on somebody's roster, but just like we heard Rex say a while ago, after a while, it's time to grow up. It's time to say, you know what, I was a child. I did childish things. I did selfish things. I did whatever. You know, this is a pretty good lifestyle. Even what you and I do, and listen, you and I are picking up the crumbs as far as it goes financially with the NBA, but it's a pretty good lifestyle. It's a fun lifestyle, and I think guys realize that. When they realize it not too late, they end up having long careers.
Well, the players have won the lottery, both monetarily and occupationally. We in one of those regards, and I'll let everybody at home figure that out. Now, I've got a quote from Ruben Patterson.
You're driving a Mercedes, but go ahead.
Whatever.
Okay.
I don't know who you saw me driving in with this morning, but
our producer. That's where all the money goes.
Exactly. But Ruben Patterson really manned up to that situation, with George Karl, the falling out. And this was his quote just a couple of weeks ago or so. He said, "I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Come into camp and bust my everything will be good." In other words, he admitted right there that he was talking too much and caring too much about Ruben, and that's not the case with him anymore.
Well, and there was times when Ruben thought he had to be a scorer. Now, he has the ability to blow up and score 20, 25 points, 30 points on a certain night. But think about what we've talked about for the last hour and a half, 2 hours, and what this team is trying to change its MO. A point of attack, getting to the rim, playing quicker, defending. They've got scores. They've got Carmelo. They've got AI, and they've got JR, and they've got Klaiser. 2 different 1-2 punches starting off the bench if you want. Now you need role guys. You need Balkman, defend, run the lane. We've been watching this practice now for the last 15, 20 minutes, and it's transition stuff. Half court getting the offense, and then bust down and run. It's defense. Ruben will make this team, not because he's a scorer, because he'll stop people, he'll defend people, and he'll get up and down the floor and run.
Another guy trying to make this team, and he's known more for the offensive end than the defensive end, is second-year player Nick Fazekas. Played his college ball at Nevada, Reno, and he is a Colorado native. And he's trying to become the first Nugget from the Denver area to make this team since Chauncey Billups did back in 2000. Fazekas from Ralston Valley High School, and there's a lot of bigs in front of him on the depth chart, but I've been hearing good things in terms of the coach's praise of Fazekas so far.
Well, he's a smart player. He knows the game. He understands the game. He's limited with physical ability at certain levels. He has tools also that the team needs in certain areas, and in the fact that he can shoot the basketball. He's a good face-up, 16, 17-foot jump shooter, solid around the block. But once again, he's a guy that makes teams. And it's tough to tell some young guys, listen, you want to make this team, then you need to bust every big guy that comes in the lane. You need to get every single rebound in your area and maybe one area away from it. To play physical and tough all the time, and on top of that, be a smart player. Some guys will say, well, wait a minute, I averaged 20 in college. Why can't I do that again? Because it's in college. They call this the NBA, which stands for in Greece, Nona Bodo something else, which is it's not college.
Nick Fazekas, a guy trying to make this team, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up my buddy Mateen Cleaves. Won a national championship with Michigan State way back when. Got to know Mateen, as I called it, on the D-League trail back, and he was with the Huntsville Flight, and he is just an outstanding individual, a hard worker, and I saw him out here guarding AI and giving AI everything he wanted.
Well, and exactly what you want. You want guys that are either in practice, in training camp, if they make the team during the week in practice, they can push your guys. You're always – see, everybody gives the glory to the starters, and well-deserved. They get the money and the glory and the girls. That's a start. And then the bench, what the bench does, it makes the starters better. No one gives him credit. Mateen Cleaves will probably never be a star player in this league. You see 31 years of age now at Michigan State. Probably never going to be a star in this league. But to coaches, he can be a star on their team because he makes guys around them better, pushing them, not letting them slack off. That's one of the reasons Mateen is in this camp.
And I talked to Mateen before the shoot here today, and he just looks great. He's got that wide smile and the wide eyes as always, and he's just not a guy that gets discouraged. You realize he's fighting an uphill battle to make this squad, but Mateen is ever the optimist, and we wish him well. We're taking another, but we are coming back in just a couple of minutes to the Pepsi Center in Denver. It's NBA TV Real Training Camp, Denver Nuggets, and we're coming back in just a moment. And a look outside the Pepsi Center here in downtown Denver, right next to the Rockies here in Colorado. It's NBA TV Real Training Camp from the Pepsi Center. And this is the training facility, the practice court, and we get you back down there right now to those who are mic'd up.
What I be getting?
We're going to go a little more, but it's probably, we're not going to pressure.
Get back! I got the ball right there. Hey, pushing it down. Oh, cool.
And you saw a nifty little dribble move right there by Carmelo Anthony, plopping down the mid-range J, just like he does for 82 games a year. Love the offensive game of Carmelo Anthony, and I love the big basketball brain on the dude to my right, Scott Hastings, Rick Hamlow alongside of him. And we have not talked about the only draft pick that the Denver Nuggets had this year, second-round pick, Sonny Weems. He's an athletic guy. He's just getting back from an injury, but he's a part of the plans as well.
Well, I tell you, he's a very athletic game. Won the college dunk contest in the postseason, I believe, at the Final Four. Was a phenomenal player. But he had the sports hernia, had an operation. They actually traded in the draft. And I think what we're actually looking at is James Mays, who was a free agent pickup kid out of Clemson, who they also really, really like. I think Mays and Sonny Weems will be the two guys that are going to be special for him. But it's going to be a future. It's going to be a while. Weems still coming back from that sports hernia operation. We just talked to Rex a while ago during the break, and he said, listen, that guy's going to be in the should be healthy, should be ready to go in the next couple of days.
And Mays, you know, I think I read on Hoops Hype that he had an offer from overseas, and I think he's trying to stick it out right here, try to make the Nuggets, and then if it doesn't work out here, then maybe he'll bounce over there.
So guys like that can do that, and sometimes NBA teams don't mind. Go overseas, get playing time, and we've seen the playing and the competition of overseas players. I mean, it used to be a joke. You're 40, you're 38, you go over there and play, make some extra do-re-mi, and then
McAdoo, Dominique, stuff like that.
And you just did that, you dominated the league. Now you've got great players. These guys are signing major contracts over there. So you get a guy like Mays, if he wanted to go over there, nothing wrong with that. Go over there, get a year being a starter. Get a year in there getting 40 minutes a game. Is that better than the D-League? It might be right now, but you don't have the availability if someone goes down. If you're in the D-League, and all of a sudden Denver calls and say, hey, we need you, by the way, to bus up. It's just up in Broomfield, 35-minute drive away. We want you down here right now because you're going to be suiting up with the big team. But so there's things that go. Sometimes young players are better served to play and play against great competition and then come back to the league in a year or so.
And the D-League certainly a phenomenal option as well, keeps you close, and the coaches of the D-League are fantastic at grooming these players for an NBA career down the line. We're taking another break. We're coming back to preview the West and see how the Denver Nuggets stack up in the loaded Western Conference of our beloved NBA. And we welcome you back to the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. NBA TV, Real Training Camp, Denver Nuggets style. And we bring you back into the training room where Rick Hamlow and Scott Hastings are just chilling out. And we're glad to have you with us out there in TV land, enjoying this broadcast, hopefully right along with us. We want to talk about where Denver stacks up in the Western Conference. If you joined us late, give you the stat again. Denver's one of 4 teams in the NBA to make the playoffs 5 straight years. The others, San Antonio, Detroit, and Dallas. So they are elite in that regard. Obviously, they haven't gotten by the first round in any of those years. And with that as the backdrop, we take a look at the contenders in the Western Conference. You've got the New Orleans Hornets and the Los Angeles Lakers. They were 1-2 last year. Utah and Houston. To me, that's the big four in the West. Then you've got Portland, San Antonio, Dallas, and Phoenix. The Clippers, Golden State, Denver, Sacramento not on that board. They may make a little bit of a push for the playoffs. It is loaded once again, my friend. Where do you see the Denver Nuggets? They were 8th last year in the West. Where are they this year?
Well, I tell you, I think the Lakers overachieved last year. But as long as you have Kobe Bryant, you're going to be good. They're going to get Bynum back. He's going to be healthy. But I thought they overachieved last year. I'm not still sold on them. Utah is a scary team. Watch out for Utah right there. They're always a tough. Our test, if he doesn't become crazy again and can help that team, and they stay healthy. Big thing with Houston is they haven't been healthy. The team I like right now, to be honest with you, and they're not going to sneak up with it, teams like New Orleans. I don't think they're not going to sneak up on them anymore. They're still going to be a solid team to beat. I think San Antonio has got to be on the decline. They're getting old. Dallas is a complete question mark. Clippers, no way. Golden State, going to be interesting also. I think Denver, to be honest with you, could be right in the middle of the pack. People won't believe that. They look at the minuses. They look at the things that they lost. They're healthy. If they don't stay healthy, then they're going to be like anybody else.
Yep.
If they stay healthy with this team, then I think they got a chance to be middle of the pack and better. And if they stay healthy, I think this year they win that first-round playoff.
I understand it. I know everybody here in this arena, in this organization, is hoping for that. And I just read a quote from Carmelo Anthony a day or two ago. I want to bring it to you because a lot of people are counting the Nuggets out. They have them 9, 10, 11 in terms of the playoff picture, not one of the top 8. Carmelo said this: when you're counting us out with me on the team and you're telling me we're not a top 8 team in the Western Conference, that's an insult to me.
Good. And also he said, I want to make guys play better. If all the things that he said come true, and he lives by those words, and that means he's working out extra hard. He's doing the right things. He's being a leader. The one thing that this team has done, they've had a pretty boat, but they've not had that captain. They've not had that true leader and say, listen, that old smudge needs to be cleaned up. That we need to batten down those hatches. Once they get that guy to do that, and if Melo has learned from his Olympic experience or just can do that, then they're going to be okay. This team has been a true leader away, I think, from going to that next level. Let's see if they get that this year, if Melo steps up and takes those reins.
I can guarantee you this. I have no idea if they make the playoffs, but for 82 games, the Denver Nuggets are going to be one of the most entertaining teams in the league. And again, the League Pass reference, you got to check out my man Hastings and Marlo calling the games for the Denver Nuggets. You guys howl at the moon regularly and have a blast on those broadcasts, and it's been fun having you here.
They call me Monkey Boy on the broadcast, but I do a lot of ooh, ah, so make sure you tune in for that.
No, it's going to be great. And Scott, it was a pleasure being here with you, watching your Nugs and getting to know you a little bit.
Well, you know what? And I'm going to put a good word in for Randy Whitman of Minnesota. Now that I know that's your team, he's the godfather of my daughter's child.
Right.
I can get you tickets.
Nice. I need tickets to go see my Wolves beat his Denver Nuggets. So for Scott Hastings and our entire NBA TV crew, we're signing off from Denver. It is a wrap from the Pepsi Center here. NBA TV Real Training Camp has come your way from Denver once again. We'll see you real soon again, everybody. Take it easy.
Ball and scramble.
Hey, get that way. Get that way.
Seems like we have NBA TV today. Tomorrow we have referees. And Saturday